just before we start the show, I want to take an opportunity to invite you to join me for the Podfluence Weekly newsletter, which is available both on LinkedIn and through the official newsletter channel. Now, if you are on LinkedIn and it's easier for you to follow there, then please just click on the link in the show notes, which will take you straight to Podfluence on LinkedIn, where you can subscribe for free and get weekly updates on Podfluence articles as well as episodes. If you would like to subscribe to the full newsletter where you'll get additional materials and, as my little incentive to you, my pre-podcast guest checklist for you to use when you're appearing on podcast shows so that you can be fully prepared every single time, then please click the link to the official newsletter in the show notes. Hope to see you there. Let's get on with the show. Welcome to the Loki Podcast with John Ball from Present Influence. We use Buzzsprout to upload and distribute the Loki Podcast to all major podcasting networks. If you're thinking of starting your own podcast, check out the link to Buzzsprout in the show notes. You could start your podcast today. If you tune in regularly to the Loki Podcast, welcome back. If this is your first time tuning in, great to have you with us. This shorter episode is going to be about an issue that commonly occurs in nearly all presenters, certainly when you are standing up. And even if you are working in a remote location and doing your meetings online, it's still generally a good idea to be standing up if you can arrange your equipment in a way to do that, especially when you are delivering any kind of presentation. Now, the issue is one of moving around. Now, I don't know if you have ever watched speakers who aren't really used to speaking, but you may notice that they kind of pace around on the stage and they're not standing still. In fact, you often see what I call the speaker wobble, where he may sort of be almost balancing on one foot, shifting backwards and forwards, but certainly not looking very grounded. It tends to look like you're nervous. And in most cases, that's probably what it is. It's a bit of nerves, but it's also a lack of attention to what a difference it actually makes when you are stood still. So this is something we would maybe call grounding. I think that's probably the most helpful word for it. And grounding in a very physical sense, as in keeping your feet still on the floor. Now, it's okay to move whilst you are presenting. In fact, it can be very useful. The whole point here is to move with volition, not to be moving around unconsciously if you can help it. Now, of course, if you can't help it from time to time, you can be forgiven for it, but it's going to make you look much more confident, and it's probably going to make you feel much more secure if you are actually a little more grounded on the stage, so that when you do move, it looks like a conscious decision to move rather than nervous shuffling. So if you ever watch people, you may watch them moving backwards and forwards, side to side, or whatever direction it is, but it's generally unintentional. It can be distracting, and you're probably going to think that they're super nervous. Whilst that's okay, I think it's still better to look a bit more confident whilst you are on a stage of any kind, even if it's a webcam stage. So in order to do that, I want to do a little exercise with you. It's an eyes closed exercise, just a little short visualization that may help you to feel more grounded and at least have a little more conscious awareness of keeping yourself still and in one place. So please join me right now, so long as it's safe for you to do so, and go ahead, please close your eyes. Take a nice deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. Good. Now, what I want you to do is, if you can, move yourself into a standing position. If you can't, if the best you can do is to have your feet just flat on the floor, do that. So make sure both feet are flat on the floor. If you're standing, try to center your weight. Make sure that you evenly distribute your weight over your feet, that you're in a comfortable position with your hands by your side. And I want you to now visualize large, heavy chains coming out of your feet, out of your legs, sinking into the ground. Large, enormous, unending chains coming out of your legs, through your feet, into the ground, and going right into the earth, right down into the center of the earth. You imagine now these chains shooting all that way down there and wrapping themselves around the center of the earth, locking themselves into each other, creating a solid grounding for you, making sure that you're not stuck. There is still some flexibility, but you feel more weighted in your feet and more inclined to stand in a strong, confident position whilst you are giving any talks or presentations. Just allow that feeling to sit. Feel that heaviness in your feet. That when you do move, you will move with volition. You will move consciously. And you will end unconscious movement so that you look and feel more confident, like the expert that you are, whilst you are talking and presenting. Okay, go ahead, open your eyes, clear that mental screen. How does that feel? Now, this is not necessarily what you could classify as hypnosis, even if you worried that it might be. It really is just a visualization, but hopefully it does allow you to get more of a feeling of consciousness of your feet whilst you are here right now. If you do this exercise before presenting, before giving your talk or presentation, you are more likely to feel a bit more grounded. Now, like with all these things, there's so many exercises you could do before giving a talk and presentation that may help you. I would encourage you to do this one for a little while, especially if you do notice yourself shifting around unconsciously whilst you talk, because after a little time, you will probably no longer need to keep reminding yourself to do it. It starts to become your normality when you practice these things. So especially if you are giving regular presentations, do some kind of grounding exercise, either the one that we have here, you're welcome to play that back to yourself, or your own version of it. I've heard a version that is like your feet growing as tree trunks into the ground. I don't use that one so much because it gives that idea of being stuck to the spot, because trees don't really do a lot of moving other than in Disney films where they may start walking. So generally, I think the chains with a little bit of ability to move around is a better visualization for me. So that's why I use that. But you are welcome to use whatever is going to help you feel more grounded. And as well as that, I do recommend video yourself giving your talks, or watch back a video presentation if someone else is videoing it, and see where there is volitional movement and where there is unconscious movement, and do your best to correct those. Again, this isn't about needing to be perfect with all this. That's not the objective. It's really just cleaning things up a bit so that you look more professional, and you will feel more confident once you're giving your talk or your speech or your presentation. So it's all about the delivery, right? And you will feel much better. If you want to look like a pro, you have to do the things that pros do. And this is one of those things. Watch some very high-class experienced presentations and speakers, and you will see that you don't get much unconscious movement from them. It's nearly always all volitional. That said, there are some amazing speakers out there who do all the things that speaker trainers tell you you shouldn't do and are still amazing. So this really is just about things that may improve your ability to present and to look more confident on stage. But remember, these are not hard and fast rules. They're just suggestions that probably will benefit you. Okay, so on my next episode, I hope you'll tune into this. It's with a guy called Nick Diakanastasis, and he is very similar to me, a presentation skills trainer, and he specializes in working with people who are introverts. He's a super nice guy, really interesting, funny as well. And if you don't follow him on LinkedIn, I do recommend that you start. He will be in my next episode. A bit later on today, from recording this particular episode, I am speaking to Matthew Diggs, the author of Storyworthy. If you haven't come across that book, check it out. If you get a chance to do that before you see the podcast episode, even better, because he is an incredible storyteller, and I know you're going to love that episode. So I hope you will stay tuned. Make sure you like and subscribe for future episodes of the Loki podcast. Check out some of our amazing recent guests. I've just been getting confirmation from some fantastic people who I've been dreaming about getting on my podcast. So I'm thrilled. You will be. Definitely don't want to miss out on any of that. So whatever format you are tuning into the podcast, please make sure you are subscribed and don't miss our future episodes. I will look forward to seeing you on another episode very soon. Have an amazing day and rest of your week. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. If you have, please make sure to like and subscribe and come back for more great episodes and chats with amazing people. If you think you'd be a good guest for the podcast, or you know someone who would, or you think I'd be a good guest for your podcast, please feel free to get in touch. You can email me, john@presentinfluence.com. If you think I'd be a good speaker for your event, or you'd like to learn more about public speaking, presentation skills, whether that's online or in person, creating online products and services, video content, having clarity, confidence, and charisma in all of doing that, then please shoot me an email or visit my website, presentinfluence.com, and I'll see you there.